Hey guys, this is Grace and welcome to video number 3 of my latest video series here on YouTube. It's 8.5 by 11 scrapbook pages, and I'm sharing with you the things that I'm going to be using. I did cut that book nerd title, and that will be my title for this layout. I cut that with a free cut file from Paper Issues, and I did create a shadow for that with the black cardstock, cutting it in the silhouette cameo. So the theme or the idea that I'm sharing here is that sometimes we don't do an 8.5 by 11 because maybe it doesn't quite match with the current trends. But I'm going to show you here that you can, especially with cut files and whatnot. You can totally use that in a page or a size that is not your typical scrapbook size or not 12 by 12. And I'm just cutting my books here. Again, like what I've been saying in the past videos, you can definitely use whatever you have right now or the techniques that you're used to in 12 by 12. It's just that you have to downsize them and you have to make them fit the smaller canvas that you have. And so for this one, I am going to just document the books that I had read in 2020. I have a Goodreads account, and so my goal in the beginning of the year was 100 books, and at the end of the year I was able to read 103 books. So very close, and I met my goal, so that was nice. I don't normally print my photos at home, but I just did a screenshot with all of these books on the website, and so I figured just printing it at home would just be better, and they are small to begin with, so I'm okay with that. And these are all the books that I read. Now, this layout is going to be photo heavy, but I felt like, I don't know, it would just be nice to have all my books in one page. I guess I could have done a mini book for this, but I don't have space for mini books in my home that much anymore. So anyways, I'm just trimming that out. I did print that out with a photo paper. I have some of that still left in my stash, and I keep them just in case, like these moments that I felt like, I could print my photos at home. One of the things, I don't know if you noticed that, but these two blocks on the right, the two rows, the bottom rows, I didn't realize it until the very end. They are identical. Like, I guess I printed them or I added them, or screenshotted them twice, and I would not realize that until the very end. So yeah, it's just going to be like that on the page. Let's go back to the actual creating of the layout. So again, this is going to be photo heavy, and of course I wanted to do that or make sure that I add that title. And I thought, well, I like the background. I've been using that craft for the past 3 layouts already. I like it, but in my eyes, it just feels a little bit simple, like a little bit plain. And so I am going to pull out a few papers here. Now I am doing a school themed pulling out some school themed collection from Jelly Bean Soup, but it had these book report or library kind of label tags. I don't know what you call them, but these ones that I'm pulling here, and it had, like, the author and like date that it was checked out and things like that. And I really like that as a background for that title. I thought that it would fit perfectly. And then this paper, which is, I believe, the back side of the books border that I created, has some numbers on it, but it's very subtle, and I just like the blue, and so I'm going to put that behind there, and that will go with behind the title and all of that label or cards that I'm trying to cut out. Initially, I'd cut out a blue, but because my background is blue, I decided I'm going to change that up. I could have done like kind of a rainbow with the cards, but I like it this way. And I also like that the colors of those cards match well with the colors of the books on the bottom border. I thought that was really nice. And then I decided if I've done that to, if I have added the blue paper on the right, might as well do it on the left as well. And I think that's one of the things that you can definitely, the design elements you can definitely incorporate with 12 by 12 and 8.5 by 11 is just doing a balance where what you do on the left, you do on the right. Now, this is not going to be a grace page without a border punched accent to it. And that's what I'm looking for here. I need something to balance or to define the border and that pattern paper. So I felt like a punched border would be really good, but I could not quite, I was going through my scraps because I only needed a strip and I cannot find like a good paper. I was looking for an orange one. And I could have used this orange one here that I had gutted, but I don't know. I guess, saving that for another layout. I should have just gutted that one. But I'm going to go, initially, this is what I thought. I would go with this plain circle, plain craft, no, not craft, but like kind of dirty white type of paper. But then I decided, no, I'm just going to go with an orange one. And I found this 8.5 by 11 cardstock in my stash. And this is the thing, like when you're so used to a 12 by 12 page, you just go with the longest side. But this page is, this card or this cardstock is 8.5 by 11. So what I should have just done is I should have just punched out the top and the bottom of it. So I didn't have any extras on the sides. Well, didn't figure that out until after I had punched the first border. So it is what it is. So if you're going to scrap lift this page, make sure that you do the top and the bottom of an 8.5 by 11 page instead of doing the sides if you're punching a border from that particular paper. And I'm inking up the edges of this just to make it stand out. And I used a notebook punch for my border punch. I thought that it will match the theme of this layout. And then I also found a quote. Now, the page kind of self-explanatory, like I didn't have to do much personal journaling on it, but I still wanted to add a few words. And so that was one of the things that I did, was to add a quote. And the quote, I think it's from Francis Bacon. It says, "Some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few are to be chewed and digested," which I think is very appropriate for this layout because there were some books for me that I just kind of read it really fast just to get it over with. I also have some that I did not finish, like they were put in my did not finish pile because, when you're, I don't know, I'm in my reading groove now that I feel like my time is precious. So if I'm not liking the book, I'm just not going to finish it. I would give it at least like up to like chapter 5 or something like that to make sure that I give it enough time to see if I'm going to like it. But if it's something that I really don't like, then I'm just not going to read it. My favorite genre of choice is Christian romance and historical romance. I feel like that's like the best books to get away from life. But I'm part of a local book club, and so that group stretches me as well. So they make me read outside of my genre, which I really like. So I've read, fantasy, I've read nonfiction, biography, things like that. I also like to once in a while read like self-help books. Like last year, I read some of oh, I forgot his name, but Malcolm something, the David and Goliath book. I read that one. I read the Craftfulness book, and I actually did a review of that. If I can remember, I'll try to find the link to that, to my book review that I had posted here in my YouTube channel. So I read that one, and that was really cool. And what else? Yeah, so I try to like read different varieties as I can, but yeah, my favorite one would have to be romance, Christian romance, and then historical romance. I like to read kind of the Jane Austen type of reads as well. I like how they could convey their messages with really formal words. That has been really something that is really interesting to me because I don't talk in that way. It's just I find it really fascinating. So anyways, let's go back to the layout. This is pretty much done. And I know that my video is not quite focused. I think it's because it had so much going on and I did not focus it properly. But I have inked up the edges of those cards, and now I'm adding this book nerd. Now I've toyed around with the idea of maybe adding some fun foam to that just to make it stand out a little bit more. But I was kind of feeling a little lazy. I did not want to have to cut my foam adhesive into little bits and pieces just to match it with the size of the cut. So I just decided to add some liquid. And because I did that shadow on the back, I felt like that is good enough to make it stand out. And it does, because it's black and white. Everything else is colored, and that just really stands out. So again, this layout just shows you that if there's a trend that you see that 12 by 12 scrappers do, you can definitely translate that into an 8.5 by 11 page. You just got to remember to, again, pay attention to the sizes of your elements here. My title is quite big, but I wanted that to stand out. Like, that was my goal, is for it to stand out on the layout. If you have more photos, or if you don't want it to be as big, of course you can just make that smaller before you cut it. And I think that's the beauty of a electronic die cut machine, is that you can make it the size that will fit whatever project that you're going to do. And so I'm trying to, there's a space there on the top of the book. I'm trying to kind of decide if I wanted that on the top or on the bottom, and you will see where I'm going to put that. That's going to go there just because I didn't want an empty space. I liked it on the bottom of the book nerd as well, but that's where it's going to go. Now, this is where I discovered that I have those two rows that are identical. Initially, I said, oh, I didn't want to cover my books because I wanted to see them later on. But then when I was moving things around, I noticed that, yes, there were books that were printed twice. And so that this is where I'm going to be able to have the room, or have the ability to add more items on there, or more elements and embellishments, because I could cover that one piece. This is where I'm pointing out, this is the moment that I discovered it, that there were two of that particular book. So I'm just looking for other things. And this is a school themed collection from Jelly Bean Soup, but the books just work really well. And and had the little elements that says bookworm, and so many books, so little time, because that's really, honestly, that's what I feel most of the time. There's so many books that I want to read. Every time I go to the library, I pull out so many books, and then it just, yeah, sometimes I have to return it because it was due, because I just don't have time to read them all. But I try to read as much as I can. Oh, and there was this one sticker from this sticker sheet. I think this one's Simple Stories, that says, I like big books and I cannot lie, which I thought was really funny. So I added that there. And then one more that says, for the love of books. So that's going to be my layout for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like these videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.